My uncle found me homeless behind a dumpster and asked, "Where's the car I bought you?" I finally revealed my siblings sold it years ago and convinced him I'd crashed it while drunk. Before I share what happened next, do me one favor. Subscribe and tell me the city or country you're watching from. I love knowing where our stories reach. The February rain hammered against the metal dumpster as I pressed myself deeper into the cardboard fortress I'd built. 3 months homeless. 24 years old. This wasn't how my life was supposed to turn out. Janae? Jesus Christ, is that you? I looked up into Uncle Eduardo's face, rain streaming down his dark skin, his eyes wide with horror. He was holding grocery bags, probably visiting his daughter at the apartments nearby. The last person I wanted to see me like this. "Uncle Eduardo," I whispered, my voice cracking. I hadn't spoken to anyone in days. He crouched down, his expensive leather shoes squelching in the puddle. "Baby girl, what happened? Where's that Honda Accord I bought you for your 21st birthday?" His voice was gentle but confused. "That car was supposed to keep you safe, help you get to work, build your life." My stomach twisted. 3 years of lies, carefully constructed by my siblings, were about to crumble. I'd been carrying their secret, protecting them even as they destroyed me. "I crashed it," I heard myself say, the familiar lie bitter on my tongue. "I was drunk. Totaled it." His face fell. "Janae, no. You promised me you'd take care of it. That car cost me $15,000. The disappointment in his eyes cut deeper than any knife. But what hurt more was knowing the truth. I'd never touched a drop of alcohol in my life. My brother Terrence and sister Diamond had sold that car 2 weeks after Uncle Eduardo gave it to me, pocketed the 12 grand and fed him that drunk driving story. And I'd been too scared to tell him the truth. He'll know. 3 years ago, my 21st birthday. "This is really mine?" I'd whispered, running my fingers over the silver Honda's hood. Uncle Eduardo stood beside me, grinning wider than I'd ever seen. "All yours, baby girl. Title's in your name. I know your mama passed when you were 16, and your daddy ain't worth the air he breathes. But you've got me." He pulled me into a hug that smelled like his signature cologne and cigar smoke. "You start that medical assistant program next month. This car's gonna get you there and back safely." I'd cried. Real grateful tears. My older siblings, Terrence and Diamond, had stood on the porch of our grandmother's house where we all still lived, their faces unreadable. That night, Terrence cornered me in my room. "Listen, baby sis. Diamond and I need to borrow the car for a few days. Uncle Eduardo doesn't need to know." "Borrow it?" I'd hesitated, fingering the keys. "Just a few days. We got some business to handle." His smile didn't reach his eyes. At 28, Terrence had that smooth-talking charm that had gotten him out of trouble his whole life. Family helps family, right? I'd handed over the keys. That was my first mistake. 2 weeks later, I came home to find both of them gone. Grandma Cheryl sat at the kitchen table, her weathered face troubled. "Your brother and sister left this morning. Said they were moving to Atlanta. Didn't say when they'd be back." "What about my car?" Panic seized my chest. "What car, baby?" My phone buzzed. A text from Terrence: "Had to sell the Honda. Split the money with Diamond. Don't tell Uncle Eduardo. We already told him you crashed it drunk. Keep your mouth shut if you know what's good for you." Uncle Eduardo had called the next day, his voice tight with anger. "Janae, your brother just told me what happened. You crashed the car I just bought you." "Uncle Eduardo, my voice had failed me. Terrence and Diamond were already gone. If I told the truth, what then? They'd deny everything. I had no proof. The car was in my name. Any sale would look like my doing." "I'm so disappointed," he'd continued. "I thought you were different from your siblings. Responsible. That's why I bought you that car and not them." The words had gutted me. I'd opened my mouth to confess, but fear strangled the truth. Terrence's threats echoed in my mind. We know people. Keep quiet. I'm sorry, I'd whispered instead. That lie became a cancer eating away at everything. Uncle Eduardo grew distant. He'd always been the stable one in our fractured family. Successful contractor, owned 3 properties, never missed a birthday or graduation. After the accident, his calls became brief and formal. No more Sunday dinners. No more fatherly advice. I'd lost more than a car that day. I'd lost the only parent figure I had left. The medical assistant program started without me. No transportation, no way to get there. I'd worked double shifts at the corner store, saving for a cheap car, but Grandma Cheryl got sick. Cancer. The medical bills ate my savings faster than I could earn them. She died 18 months later. I was 22, alone and drowning. The house went to Terrence as the oldest, though he never came back for it. Eventually it was foreclosed. I bounced between friends' couches until those relationships strained and broke. Then came the streets. Uncle Eduardo, I said, now rain mixing with my tears. I need to tell you something. I didn't crash that car. I never drank a drop. I didn't wreck anything. He froze, grocery bags hanging forgotten in his hands. What are you saying? Terrence and Diamond. My voice grew stronger despite my shaking. They took the car 2 weeks after you gave it to me. Sold it for $12,000. Split the money and left for Atlanta. They told you I crashed it drunk so you wouldn't come asking them about it. The color drained from his face. No. Janae, why didn't you tell me? Because I was scared. The words exploded out of me. Terrence threatened me. I was 21, Uncle Eduardo. I didn't know what to do. And then you were so disappointed, and I thought if I told you the truth, you'd think I was lying to cover my own ass. I had no proof. The title was in my name. How would it look? Uncle Eduardo set down his groceries slowly. His jaw worked, processing. 3 years. You let me think you were some drunk driver for 3 years. I'm sorry. And you ended up here? His voice rose, gesturing at the dumpster. Living behind trash because of them? Because you protected them? I nodded, unable to speak. He pulled out his phone, fingers moving rapidly. We're fixing this. Right now. First, you're coming home with me. Second, I'm calling your brother and sister. And third. His eyes had gone cold, a look I'd never seen before. They're going to pay for what they did to you. Uncle Eduardo's guest room smelled like fresh linen and hope. I sat on the edge of the bed, showered for the first time in weeks, wearing his daughter's borrowed clothes. Lori had moved out last year, but her room remained pristine, waiting. Downstairs, I heard his voice on the phone, sharp and unforgiving. Terrence. It's Eduardo. Don't you dare hang up on me. I crept to the top of the stairs, listening. Yeah, I found her. Behind a fucking dumpster, starving and homeless. Want to tell me again about how she crashed that car drunk? Silence. That's what I thought. I know what you did. You sold that Honda, took the money and left her holding the blame. Terrence's voice came through faintly, defensive. I couldn't make out words, but I knew that tone. Smooth, manipulative, spinning some story. I don't want to hear it. Uncle Eduardo roared. You stole from her. From me. That car was supposed to change her life and you destroyed her for $12,000? You know what you are. You're exactly like your father. A user. A parasite. The line went dead. Uncle Eduardo stood in the foyer, breathing hard. When he looked up and saw me on the stairs, his expression softened. Come down here, baby girl. I descended slowly. He pulled me into a hug and I finally broke, sobbing into his shoulder like I was 12 years old again, learning my mother had died. I've got you now, he murmured. And I swear to God they're going to answer for this. Both of them. 2 days later, Diamond called. I stared at her name on Uncle Eduardo's phone screen, my heart pounding. Answer it, he encouraged, putting it on speaker. Let's hear what she has to say. I pressed accept. Hello. Janae. Diamond's voice was sweet, concerned. Oh my God, Terrence told me Uncle Eduardo found you. Are you okay? We've been so worried. Worried. The word came out sharp. You've been worried for 3 years while I was homeless? Silence. Then her tone shifted, cooler. Look, I don't know what you told Uncle Eduardo, but... The truth, I interrupted. I told him the truth about what you and Terrence did. You're lying on us now? Diamond's voice rose. After we kept your secret? Uncle Eduardo, she's playing you. She really did crash that car. We were trying to protect her reputation. Protect me? I laughed bitterly. You sold my car, took the money, and disappeared. You let me take the blame for something I never did. You have no proof, Diamond hissed. It's your word against ours. And there's 2 of us. Uncle Eduardo took the phone. Diamond, I looked into it. Found the bill of sale. Terrence's signature is on it, dated 3 weeks after I bought that car. He sold it to a dealership in College Park for $11,500. The silence stretched so long I thought she'd hung up. How did you? Diamond's voice had gone small. I'm a contractor, baby girl. I know people who know people. I made some calls. His voice was ice. Now here's what's going to happen. You and your brother are going to pay Janae back every cent. With interest. Diamond laughed, sharp and mean. Or what? Or I press charges for fraud and theft. The line went dead. Uncle Eduardo's daughter, Lori, came home that evening. At 26, she'd always been the successful cousin. Master's degree, good job at a tech company, her own condo. We'd been close as kids, but distance and my shame had created a gap. Janae. She dropped her purse and crossed the living room in 3 strides, pulling me into a fierce hug. Dad told me everything. I'm so sorry. I should have checked on you. It's not your fault, I mumbled into her shoulder. She pulled back, hands on my shoulders. The hell it's not. Your family. When Terrence and Diamond left, I should have asked more questions. Should have made sure you were okay. Her eyes glistened. But we're going to fix this. Together. That night, the 3 of us sat around Uncle Eduardo's dining table making plans. Lori, with her sharp legal mind from business school, outlined options. Uncle Eduardo shared what his investigator had uncovered. Bank records, the bill of sale, even text messages Terrence had sent to friends bragging about the score. They sold your car, told everyone you were a drunk, and left you to suffer, Lori summarized, her voice tight with anger. That's calculated. Cruel. What I don't understand, Uncle Eduardo said quietly, is why they targeted you. Terrence always had that mean streak, but Diamond? She used to protect you when you were little. I'd thought about this for 3 years. Jealousy, I said finally. You chose me. Bought me the car. Believed in me enough to invest $15,000 in my future. They saw that as you choosing me over them. So they destroyed you for it, Lori finished, her jaw clenched. Uncle Eduardo reached across the table, gripping my hand. They didn't destroy you, baby girl. You're still here. And you're stronger than both of them combined. Attorney Jennifer Washington's office downtown was all glass and polished wood. Uncle Eduardo had hired her, the best civil attorney in the city, and her reputation preceded her. Miss Janae Davis, she said, shaking my hand firmly. I've reviewed your case. What your siblings did constitutes fraud, theft by conversion, and potentially criminal impersonation if we can prove they forged your consent to that sale. Can we prove it? I asked. She smiled, sharp and confident. The dealership has records. Your signature isn't on any paperwork. Terrence signed his own name, actually. Apparently, he thought having the title was enough. She slid a document across her desk. He was wrong. The car was titled to you. Any sale required your notarized signature or a proper power of attorney. He had neither. Hope bloomed in my chest for the first time in years. Here's what I recommend, Ms. Washington continued. We file a civil suit for the full value of the car, $15,000, as that's what it was worth new, not what they sold it for. Plus damages for the financial hardship you suffered. Lost wages, medical costs from homelessness, emotional distress. We're looking at potentially $30,000 to $40,000. Uncle Eduardo nodded approvingly. And criminal charges? That's trickier. The statute of limitations is 5 years in this state, so we're still within it. But criminal charges require the DA's office, and they're selective about what they prosecute. She leaned forward. However, if we file the civil suit first and they refuse to settle, that gives the DA a clear pattern of behavior. Strengthens a potential criminal case. I felt dizzy. This was real. After 3 years of carrying their secret, of protecting them, justice might actually happen. Do it, I said. File everything. Ms. Washington's smile widened. I was hoping you'd say that. Terrence showed up at Uncle Eduardo's house 3 days after we filed the lawsuit. I watched from the upstairs window as he got out of a new Dodge Charger. Metallic blue chrome wheels. Probably $30,000 worth of car. My car money, I thought bitterly. Uncle Eduardo met him at the door. You've got some nerve showing your face here. I came to talk to Janae. Terrence tried to push past, but Uncle Eduardo blocked him. At 62, my uncle was still solid, still strong from years of construction work. She doesn't want to talk to you. That lawsuit is bullshit and you know it. Terrence's voice carried up to me. She gave me permission to sell that car. She was going to use the money for drugs. Drugs. Uncle Eduardo's laugh was harsh. Janae's never touched drugs in her life. Unlike you. I know about your arrests, your record. Don't stand here and lie to me. I couldn't stay upstairs. I descended the stairs and both men turned to look at me. Terrence's expression shifted. First surprise, then something calculating. Janae, baby sis. Look at you. Uncle Eduardo taking good care of you now, huh? It's good. That's real good. He smiled, that same smooth smile he'd used my whole life. But you need to drop this lawsuit. It's embarrassing the family. Embarrassing. My voice came out stronger than I felt. You sold my car, Terrence. You took my future and cashed it in for $12,000. I gave you $3,000 of that money, he protested. You never gave me a cent. His smile faltered. You're misremembering. I definitely. Stop lying. The words exploded from me. Just for once in your life, stop lying. Terrence's face hardened, the mask slipping. You really want to do this? Take me to court? You know what I'm capable of, Janae. Is that a threat? Uncle Eduardo stepped between us, his voice dangerously quiet. It's a fact. Terrence's eyes stayed locked on me. I've got friends. People who owe me favors. You might want to think about what happens when you mess with family. Something inside me snapped. 3 years of fear, of carrying his secrets, of protecting him while he destroyed me. It all crystallized into white-hot anger. You're not my family, I said, my voice steady. Family doesn't do what you did. Family doesn't leave their little sister homeless and scared. Family doesn't threaten each other. I stepped around Uncle Eduardo, facing Terrence directly. So do your worst. Call your friends. Make your threats. Because I'm done being afraid of you. Terrence stared at me, seemingly shocked by my transformation. The scared 21-year-old he'd manipulated was gone. This is a mistake, he said finally. No, Uncle Eduardo replied. The mistake was thinking you'd get away with it. Terence left, his Charger's tires screeching as he peeled out of the driveway. That night, my phone lit up with messages from numbers I didn't recognize. Threats, crude insults, warnings to drop the lawsuit. I showed them to Ms. Washington the next morning. Perfect, she said, smiling. Screenshot everything. This is harassment and witness intimidation. It's just making my case stronger. She paused, studying my face. How are you holding up? I'm scared, I admitted. But I'm more angry than scared now. Does that make sense? Perfect sense, she said. Anger is fuel. Use it. Diamond flew in from Atlanta 2 weeks later. Unlike Terence, she came bearing gifts, a peace offering. She stood on Uncle Eduardo's porch with a designer purse in one hand and a Starbucks cup in the other, her hair perfectly laid, nails freshly done. Can we talk? She asked when I answered the door. Just us. Sister to sister. Against my better judgment, I let her in. Uncle Eduardo hovered nearby, protective. We sat in the living room. Diamond set the purse on the coffee table. This is for you. Louis Vuitton. Real, not fake. It's worth $2,000. I didn't touch it. I don't want your purse, Diamond. I'm trying to make things right. Her eyes welled with tears, perfect, delicate tears that didn't smudge her makeup. I know we messed up. I know we hurt you. But you're my baby sister. I love you. You have a funny way of showing love. We were desperate. The tears came harder now. You don't understand what it was like. Terence owed money to some dangerous people. If we didn't come up with cash fast. So you sold my car? I interrupted. Buy future? And then let me take the blame. We were going to pay you back. We were going to explain everything, but then Grandma got sick and things just spiraled. Grandma got sick a year after you left, I corrected. You had 12 months to come clean. You chose not to. Diamond's expression shifted subtly, the tears drying. You're really going to take us to court? Drag us through legal proceedings? Ruin our lives over a car? Over my life, I corrected. You ruined my life. We gave you a place to live for years. Took care of you after Mama died. The audacity stole my breath. The courthouse was cold and impersonal. I sat beside Ms. Washington at the plaintiff's table, watching Terence and Diamond enter with their lawyer, a nervous-looking man in an ill-fitting suit who'd clearly taken the case for quick money. The judge, Honorable Patricia Moore, reviewed the evidence with sharp, intelligent eyes. Ms. Washington presented everything methodically. The bill of sale with Terence's signature, the title in my name, bank records showing they'd deposited $11,500 and split it, text messages and witness statements. Terence's lawyer tried to argue that I'd given verbal permission. Ms. Washington demolished that defense in minutes. Your Honor, verbal permission doesn't constitute legal authorization for the sale of a titled vehicle. Furthermore, the defendants then deliberately deceived Mr. Eduardo Davis about the circumstances of the vehicle's disappearance, causing him to sever his relationship with the plaintiff and contributing directly to her subsequent homelessness. Diamond took the stand, her makeup perfect, her voice trembling. I love my sister. We were trying to help. Help. Ms. Washington interrupted during cross-examination. By selling her car without permission, keeping the money, moving to another state, and allowing her to become homeless? We didn't know she was homeless. You didn't ask. You didn't call. You didn't check on her once in 3 years. Isn't that correct? Diamond faltered. We were busy. Busy enjoying the $12,000 you stole from your sister? Objection. Their lawyer stood. Sustained, Judge Moore said, but her expression was telling. When I took the stand, I told the truth. All of it. The fear, the lies I'd carried, the shame. The 3 months behind that dumpster. The medical assistant program I'd never attended. The life I'd lost. Judge Moore listened, her face unreadable. When I finished, she removed her glasses. I've heard enough. In the matter of Davis versus Davis, Judge Moore began, I find in favor of the plaintiff. The defendants are ordered to pay Ms. Janae Davis the sum of $42,000, $15,000 for the vehicle's original value, $12,000 for lost wages and opportunities, and $15,000 in punitive damages for emotional distress and the malicious nature of their actions. Diamond gasped. Terrence's face went purple. Furthermore, the judge continued, I'm forwarding this case to the district attorney's office with a recommendation for criminal prosecution for theft by conversion and fraud. What you did to your sister was not just civil wrongdoing, it was morally reprehensible. I couldn't breathe, couldn't process. Beside me, Miss Washington squeezed my hand. Outside the courthouse, Uncle Eduardo pulled me into a crushing hug. Lori hooped, pumping her fist in the air. Even strangers who'd sat in the gallery congratulated me, people who'd heard my story and felt its injustice. Terrence and Diamond slunk away to their lawyer's car, not looking back. 6 months later, I'm enrolled in that medical assistant program. Uncle Eduardo co-signed for a reliable used Honda. Different model, but it runs perfectly. The criminal case is pending. The DA's office seems serious about prosecution. I still have nightmares about that dumpster, about the cold and the fear. But I also have something I didn't have before. My voice. My truth. My refusal to carry other people's secrets. Diamond sent a message last week through a mutual friend. Tell Janae I'm sorry. Tell her I hope she can forgive me someday. Maybe someday I will. But today I'm driving to class in my car, in my life, built on truth instead of lies. I'm 25 now, starting over, but this time I'm building on solid ground. Uncle Eduardo was right. They didn't destroy me. I'm stronger than both of them combined. And I'm finally free.